Hello guys, welcome back to the second part of the video dedicated to the song we created on the previous episode, inspired to Bloody Mary by Lady Gaga. If you miss it, just click on the link here in the corner. In this episode, how to create a detailed all vinyl effect. The lead vocal chain, how to get a nice and clear voice. Special effects, how to create a vocoder effects with Vari audio. Background vocals, how to write and mix them. Let's get started! Before I start mixing, I want to focus on the intro for a while. We got a pizzicato string and this ghost synth. Let's craft it. It's very basic, very simple. I lower the cutoff and connect the LFO1 to the pitch through the mod wheel to control it. Increase the LFO frequency, like this, and now tweak the maximum depth. I'm gonna make it mono and add some glide. Last, I slightly increase the attack to make it softer. Then I move to the effects tab and add some reverb. For the pizzicato, I want to emulate an old vinyl effect. So I need two elements, the vinyl noise and the sound that has to be altered by the old vinyl. Of course, I could just cut some frequencies, but I can do more, for example, changing the pitch slightly and randomly. Okay, the result is not bad, but that's the noob way. Let's make it like a pro. In Helium Sonic, I wanna play with the fine tune, but with no touching any controller. I load the MIDI plugin Auto LFO to control the fine tune. Right click, learn control change. And I use my mod wheel that corresponds to the control change 1. I want to get this type of result. In controller type, I select control change 1. Waveform random. Length 1/4, density low, and tweak the value range. Very nice. Now I just add a vinyl sample we previously loaded in Groove Agent, and this is the result. A huge thank you to Natalie Nekare for the recording. She has a very powerful and versatile voice. Every time I ask for a collaboration, it is interesting for me to understand the different approach that each artist has. As long as Natalie is a Cubase user too, we share the same project. Here there are the tracks she received: the bass, the melody played by an instrument, the reference vocal tracks and the lyrics. And here we go, her tracks. She recorded many stems, so I had a wide range of choices. But the thing that made me smile was finding the practical takes at the bottom of the project. I really appreciate that, thanks Natalie. I no longer need the reference tracks, so I moved them to a folder tracks to make room for the project. After cleaning up and selecting the track I like the most, I deactivate and hide all the ones I no longer need. And that's the best way to keep the project clean and versatile. As usual, before adding any plugins, I like to take care of the dynamics, using the draw tool. This will help the compressor works more evenly. I know it's a bit tedious, but it's worth it. The quality of the recording is good, so it was very easy to work with. I would like to add some EQ, but which setting should I use? Let's take a look at this chart. These lines represent the frequency response of different voice types, and of course they have to be treated differently. Let's spot which one matches with our voice. I go to the supervision and change the type to spectrum curve and select mix down to show the LR channels in one window. Don't worry, we can easily switch back to the previous visualization because I saved my preset. Now I'm gonna choose an average point to analyze.
The knife blade on which I like to walk naked and post that sexy little blushing baby.
Freeze. It seems to fit between type 1 and 2. What do you think? Let me know in the comment. The frequency response appears to be very uniform between 200 and 5 kHz, with a slope on the sibilance and brilliance area. After gathering these informations, the approach will be easier, so let's process. I add a frequency 2, make a cut on 100 Hz, lower some add around 500 Hz,
walk naked and post that sexy little blushing baby that
and add some brilliance.
make you cry. Trouble man.
Generally speaking, I like to use the EQ for subtracting the unwanted frequencies and an harmonic enhancer to boost some tones. So, let's remove this guy and I call in the game Quadra Fuzz. I bypass all the bands but the high end, and with tape saturation on, I set the drive all the way up. Now I slowly lower it until I get the result I want.
That sexy little blushing baby that will make you cry.
Let's check the before.
Trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction.
And after.
Trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction 'cause you are the
At this stage, it's important to not make dramatic changes, but just the macro things, like cleaning up some frequencies and give some color. Next, I'm gonna add Magneto 2 to warm up the mid-high range. Let's say 1 and 4 kHz. And gradually increase the saturation.
Trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction 'cause you are the knife blade on which I like to walk.
Okay, let's see what we've done so far.
Trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction 'cause trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction 'cause you are the knife blade on which I like to walk.
Now I want to add a de-esser to remove some sibilance. I select the female broad SLS preset with a soft threshold.
That sexy little blushing baby that will make you cry.
Next in the chain we got a ping-pong delay as a sound effects combined with a reverb that it works in the way to create a not static tail on the voice. I set it 1/8 dotted with a stereo image of 25%.
That involved in your addiction 'cause you are the knife blade on which I like to trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction 'cause you are.
I can roughly set the send level, but better to tweak it in the next stage of the mix. Okay, let's go back to the project. I don't see the marker track anymore, so better I import it from the original project. I select File, Import, Tracks from Project. Here I can choose all the track I want, in my case, Structure, and hit OK. For the variation, I want to give to the voice a different color. So I copied the lead track and added some effects, and this is the result.
We played it safe, you stayed in your lane, but now I'm with you, breaking all those useless rules, not fair, no gain. You've led me astray, hold my hand, don't play romance, no fly away.
Maybe I can fade out the lead track to make the effects pop up just before the refrain.
Hold my hand, don't play romance, no fly away.
Let's have a deeper look. First of all, I added the cloner to multiply and spatialize the voice.
In your lane, but now I'm with you, breaking all those useless rules, not fair.
Then I add the ballad echo mystifier from multitap delay This is a very cool plugin, not just a delay effect. In fact, for each of this section, you can load an effects chain and mix it with the delay itself. The possibilities are endless. And that's very cool, isn't it? Next, I mainly focus the color on the mid and high range with the frequency too.
We played it safe, you stayed in your lane, but now I'm with you, breaking all those useless rules. Not
And boost the signal up with the vintage compressor.
we played it safe, you stayed in your lane, but now I'm with you, breaking all those useless rules.
Now the fun part. I used the FX modulator and created this chain with the volume, the pen and the flanger. I set the rate to 160. I'm gonna use it just at the end of the variation as connection to the refrain.
It's safe, you stayed in your lane, but now I'm with you, breaking all those useless rules. Not fair, no gain. You've led me astray. Hold my hand, don't play romance, no fly away.
It sounds okay for now. I will improve it on the next stage of the mix. A small additional improvement I can make is to compare the main voice and the effects voice to see if there are any unknown frequencies. So I open the channel editor of the lead voice and in the second slot I select lead cloned.
We played it safe, you stayed in your lane.
Maybe I can temporarily lower this frequency and gradually raise it before the refrain. Like this.
And don't play romance, no fly away. I'll not be back.
Let's create some effect on the first verse. This is the result I want to achieve.
Not involved in your addiction. The knife went on which I like to walk. That sexy little blushing baby.
So, I make a copy of the lead voice, click Alt to copy and Shift to block horizontally, and release on an empty space. Another one. Now it's important to observe that the audio source of these three tracks is the same. This means that if you make any change to one of them, it will affect the other. So we have to make them independent. And we do this through the bounce function, by pressing right-click, bounce selection, or even through the audio menu. Let's select on the fly the part I want to add the effects.
Trouble man, I'm not involved in your addiction, 'cause you are the knife blade on which I like to walk naked and post. That sexy little blushing baby that...
Instead of managing multiple tracks, I can put them in a folder. Select them, right-click, move select tracks to new folder. Now pressing this equal button, every change I make on a single track will also affect the others. Very cool. Let's tweak. I want to be sure there's no clips. Remember, we're not erasing the audio, but just selecting which part to play. So if I go to the audio editor and click Ctrl-A to select all, it will select the whole audio track and not just the part, unless then I bounce the selection. Anyway, it's okay like that to me, because I want to make change to the whole track. Let's try to modify the format.
I'm not involved in your addiction. I'm not involved in your
As I make the change, Cubase asks me if I want to create a new file or continue with this one. I hit continue. Now the second voice. Wait a minute, I noticed there is a problem. The Vari audio failed to pick up the note here. This means that this part will not be processed. Let's try to fix it. I bounce it again. Here we go. This time I transpose it 2 octaves down and play with the format. Let's check what we've done so far.
I'm that involved in your addiction.
Cool. Now the third voice. Here I want to change the harmony. So I activate the Vari audio. This must be a robotic effect, so I'm going to dramatically correct the tune. I activate the MIDI input so I can adjust the tune by pressing a key on my keyboard. That's a very cool way to speed up the workflow. Transpose one octave down and play with the format.
The knife blade on which I like to walk. The knife blade on which I like to walk. The knife blade on which I like to walk.
Okay, let's test the result.
I'm that involved in your addiction, 'cause you are the knife blade on which I like to walk naked and post. That sexy little blushing baby that will make you cry.
Now I select the three tracks, go to the mixer, right-click, and add group channel to select the channels. Let's process. This is the result I want to get.
I'm that involved in your addiction.
The knife blade on which I like to walk.
I'm that involved in your addiction.
First, I add quadrophase. I want to enhance this robotic effect, so I'm gonna distort the signal even more, focusing on the low mid and mid range. With the distortion selected, I start playing with the drive knobs.
I'm that involved in your addiction.
The knife blade on which I like to walk.
That sexy little blushing baby. I'm that involved in your addiction.
That's funny, isn't it? Let's remove everything below 100
I'm
Hz
that involved in your addiction.
and boost some heights.
The knife blade on which I like to walk.
That sexy little blushing baby.
If you notice it, these two bands are working in different ways. The band 7 has expander, where the band 6 is boosting and compressing at the same time. Let's switch on the single band view. You can click on the single band button or just double click on a specific band. When you activate the compressor, increasing the band's gain will expand the signal according to the threshold level. The gain is the maximum level that the signal can reach. Conversely, if I increase the start point of the compressor, this will be the initial gain from where the compressor will reduce the signal according to the threshold level. The lower the threshold, the higher the compression.
That sexy little blushing baby. I'm that involved in your addiction.
Last, I'm gonna add a maximizer just to uniform the signal.
The blushing baby. I'm that involved in your addiction.
Let's give it a try.
Trouble man, I'm that involved in your addiction, 'cause you are the knife blade on which I like to walk naked and pose. That sexy little blushing baby that will make you cry.
Very nice. Let's have a look at the choirs.
I'll not be petrified. I will never.
This time, scoring a secondary voice was quite basic, because I just followed the chords. The lead voice moves pretty much, so I choose to stay still with the other voice. Here, on the repeated note, one option would be to go to A, which also belongs to F major chord. Here we go, another version that moves a little bit more, but personally I like the first one. So, assuming you are following the chords, it's just a matter of taste and how the voices work together. I can change these last notes, for example. But it would result in too much repetitions, so choose wisely. In this step, I want to balance the chorus. I will compare the lead vocal and the background vocal, trying to spot the common frequencies. So I click on this slot and select leads.
I'll not be petrified. I will never learn.
I'm looking for those overlapping frequencies that cover the lead vocal, making it less clear.
Those flowers were lies falling from the the sky to your grave, trouble man.
Then add frequency 2 and lower those by a touch. And this will make room for the lead voice. We can apply this technique to any group of instruments, including the drum kit, the guitars, or even the pads. Let's boost the choir. I'm gonna add a squasher and select the preset Vocal Magic, that basically compress and enhance the mid and high range.
I'll not be petrified. I'll not be petrified.
Last, a touch of maximizer to boost and uniform the signal.
I'll not be petrified. I will never look into your...
Let's set the choir to the right volume. I like to use this technique. I lower the volume all the way down, then I raise it slowly until it sounds balanced.
Look into your eyes.
Okay, now the lead voice with the bass.
I'll not be petrified.
This is the moment where we can tweak the volume, the reverb or delay and check if we can improve something else. For example, we could give more room to the voice, not just raising the volumes. Here is the trick. I will dynamically attenuate the bass where the voice is predominant. Generally 1 kHz is a good area. And I'm gonna make the voice trigger it via the sidechain. I activate it, select sidechain 1, and I play with the threshold until I find a good balance. Let me overdo it for a while so you can clearly hear the difference. Here again I can start from the lowest value and slowly raise it. Here is a good compromise. We can further balance the mix and make more tweaks. Anyway, a good advice, after 30 minutes of mixing, take a little break because your ear get tired and this might compromise your mix. Another old school trick to check if the mix is well balanced is to lower all the way down the master volume and increase it by a few dBs until you barely hear the music. I can clearly hear the voice and the bass as well. Sounds good to me. Okay, time for a final ride.
Trouble man,
I'm not involved in your addiction.
cause you are
The knife blade on which I like to walk.
naked and host.
That sexy little blushing baby.
That will make you cry. We played it safe, you stayed in your lane, but now I'm with you, breaking all those useless rules. No fair, no gain. You led me astray. Hold my hand, don't play romance, no fly away. I'll not be petrified. I will never look into your eyes.
I'm pretty happy with the final result. Of course, this is just the basic picture. More improvements can be done, but I hope you find in this tutorial some interesting ideas for new projects to create like a pro.